Good evening. You've arrived at a quiet place for rest. Tonight, there is nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to understand, nothing you need to remember. This is not a lesson. It isn't meant to teach or explain in a way that requires attention. It's simply a calm science story, told slowly and meant to remain in the background as you rest. You don't need to listen closely. You don't need to follow every sentence. If your thoughts drift, that's expected. If you miss parts of what's said, that's completely fine. Right now, your body is already doing what it needs to do on its own. Breathing continues without effort. Your weight is supported by the surface beneath you. There's nothing you need to adjust or improve. This space is designed to be steady and predictable. There will be no sudden changes in tone, no moments that ask for a response, no signals that something important is about to happen. Everything you'll hear tonight is based on well-established scientific observation. Not theories meant to impress, not ideas meant to surprise. Just patterns that have been measured, observed, and repeated over long periods of time. They'll be shared softly, without urgency, without expectation. If sleep arrives at any point, it can arrive quietly. Nothing here depends on staying awake. If you wake briefly later and hear a sentence or two, that's fine as well. The story doesn't rely on sequence. It doesn't build toward a conclusion. Tonight's topic is simple. It's about how temperature changes naturally during the night. Not in dramatic ways, not all at once, but slowly and gradually, the way many natural processes do when the day comes to an end. You don't need to picture anything specific. You don't need to imagine scenes or hold images in mind. The details aren't important. What matters more is the rhythm. The steadiness of change that doesn't rush toward an outcome. The kind of process that continues whether or not anyone is paying attention. As you rest, you can let these words remain in the background. They don't need to be followed. They don't need to be understood in full. The science will unfold quietly, at a slow, even pace, just as it always does. As you continue resting, there's no need to change your position unless your body naturally wants to. If you're already comfortable, you can let stillness remain. Breathing is happening on its own. You don't need to guide it. You don't need to make it deeper or slower. Each breath arrives and then leaves without effort. The body is familiar with this rhythm. It has been doing this for a long time. You might notice the gentle rise and fall in the chest, or the subtle movement in the abdomen. These motions don't need attention. They don't need to be followed or adjusted. The muscles of the face may already be softening, around the eyes, along the jaw, the mouth resting in its natural position. There's nothing to release deliberately, nothing to relax on command. The nervous system responds best when it isn't being instructed. The shoulders remain where they are, supported by gravity, not pulled downward, just resting evenly. Your arms don't need to be placed in any particular way. They can rest as they are. Symmetry isn't required. Comfort doesn't depend on precision. If there's tension anywhere in the body, it doesn't need to disappear. The body doesn't require perfect relaxation in order to rest. It only needs consistency and time. Lower in the body, the legs are already supported. Their weight is being carried without effort. There's nothing to hold up, nothing to balance. The feet don't need attention. They don't need warmth or sensation. They can remain distant, quiet and unremarkable. As these sensations stay steady, the brain begins to notice the lack of demand. There's no task waiting, no response required, no change expected. This absence of urgency is important. It allows internal systems to slow naturally without being told to. Thoughts may still appear, fragments of the day, images, unfinished ideas. They don't need to be organized. They don't need to be pushed away. They can pass through the mind the same way background sounds pass through a quiet room. If attention drifts away from these words, that's completely fine. The body doesn't require continuous input. It responds just as well to consistency and tone. The voice you're hearing isn't here to guide you somewhere specific. It isn't asking for focus. It's simply present, steady, and predictable. There's nowhere else you need to be right now. Nothing else to prepare for. The night doesn't require readiness. You can continue resting exactly as you are. Breathing, supported, unchanged. The body already knows how to remain still. It already knows how to move toward rest when the environment allows it. Nothing more is needed at this moment. As the body remains settled, attention often becomes less focused on individual sensations. Instead of noticing specific details, there's a broader sense of steadiness. There isn't a clear moment when rest begins. It doesn't arrive with a signal. It develops gradually, without needing to be noticed. Many natural processes unfold this way, not in sudden steps, but through slow transitions that are easy to overlook. As evening moves into night, light fades without a precise boundary. There's no single moment when day becomes night. The change happens quietly, minute by minute. Sounds tend to thin out in a similar way. Activity decreases. Distances feel larger. What remains is often softer and less defined. These shifts don't require coordination. They don't respond to attention. They continue whether or not anyone is aware of them. The body is familiar with this kind of pattern. It evolved within environments shaped by gradual change, not constant alertness. Because of that, predictable transitions often feel safe. They don't ask for quick reactions. They don't signal urgency. In the natural world, temperature follows this same rhythm. It rarely changes all at once. Instead, it adjusts slowly, responding to the balance between incoming and outgoing energy. This adjustment doesn't happen because something decides it should. It happens because conditions shift. And when conditions shift, physical systems respond in consistent ways. These responses are not dramatic. They don't announce themselves. Most of the time, they go unnoticed. During the night, the environment continues to change even if nothing seems to be happening. Surfaces release warmth they absorbed earlier. Air responds gradually. The process unfolds at a pace that doesn't rush toward an outcome. This kind of change doesn't need supervision. It doesn't need correction. Once it begins, it continues on its own. In science, many systems behave like this. When the forces acting on them remain steady, their behavior remains steady as well. Large-scale patterns tend to move slowly, guided by consistency rather than impulse. Because of that, they're often described using simple ideas repeated across many situations. The details can become complex when examined closely, but at a distance, the overall behavior is straightforward. This simplicity is part of what makes these patterns easy to listen to. There's nothing hidden behind the description, no sudden reveal waiting to appear, just continuity. As these ideas remain in the background, the mind doesn't need to track them closely. It doesn't need to form clear images or hold on to explanations. What matters more is the sense of gradual movement, the feeling of processes continuing at a pace that doesn't demand attention. In this state, thinking often becomes less structured, less verbal. Not because it stops entirely, but because it no longer needs to organize itself around tasks or decisions. Time can begin to feel less distinct. Minutes don't need to be counted. There's no sequence to follow. The voice continues, steady and even, not to hold the tension, but to provide a constant reference point, something predictable enough that the mind doesn't need to stay alert. Rest doesn't arrive all at once. It settles gradually, first in the body, then in the spaces between thoughts. There's no need to notice when that happens, no need to mark the transition. The process continues quietly, and the gentle science story will continue as well, at the same unhurried pace as the natural patterns it describes. As night continues, temperature does not remain exactly the same. It changes, quietly, following physical processes that are steady and familiar. During the day, energy from the sun reaches Earth's surface. Some of that energy is reflected back into space. Some of it is absorbed by the ground, buildings, plants, and water. This absorbed energy does not disappear. It is stored temporarily, warming the surfaces that receive it. When the sun sets, that incoming energy is reduced. The source of daytime warmth is no longer present, but the energy that was absorbed earlier is still there. Over time, that stored warmth begins to leave the surface. It moves outward, away from the ground and into the surrounding environment. This process happens gradually. It does not switch on or off. It simply continues as long as there is a difference between the warmth of the surface and the cooler surroundings. In simple terms, surfaces release heat after sunset because there is no longer enough incoming energy to keep them at the same temperature. They move toward balance. This movement toward balance is a basic feature of physical systems. When energy is unevenly distributed, it tends to spread out, not suddenly, but steadily. During the night, the ground slowly gives up the warmth it gained during the day. This release happens in all directions, upward into the air, outward across nearby surfaces. The air close to the ground responds to this change. As surfaces cool, the air in contact with them cools as well. This does not happen instantly. Air changes temperature more slowly than solid surfaces. Because of this difference, the cooling process feels gradual. Minute by minute, the environment shifts, often without being noticed directly. Nothing is being pulled or pushed with force. Nothing is being controlled. The change follows simple physical behavior that occurs everywhere on Earth. This is not a special nighttime effect. It is the same process that happens whenever energy input decreases. It occurs after sunset. It also happens on cloudy days and in shaded areas. What makes nighttime feel distinct is the consistency. Once the sun has set, the reduction in energy continues for hours. There is no new input to interrupt the process. Because of this, temperature tends to follow a smooth downward path. Not perfectly straight, not identical every night, but predictable in its overall direction. This predictability is important. Physical systems that behave consistently allow the environment to remain stable. They do not introduce sudden changes that would require immediate response. The cooling of the night does not happen because something wants to cool. It happens because energy moves according to fixed relationships. When those relationships remain unchanged, the outcome remains steady. In science, this kind of behavior is often described without reference to intention or purpose. There is no decision involved. No signal is being sent. the process unfolds whether or not it is observed. Most of the time, people notice nighttime cooling only indirectly, through the feel of the air, or the stillness that often accompanies it. But the underlying process does not depend on perception. It continues even if no one is paying attention. As the night progresses, the rate of cooling may slow. As surfaces and air become closer in temperature, the movement of energy becomes gentler. The system approaches balance. This approach does not require completion. It does not reach a final point and stop. It simply continues to adjust, moment by moment. On a quiet night, these changes remain subtle. They do not announce themselves. They do not interrupt. They form part of the background conditions that make nighttime feel different from day. Calmer, less active. The same physical principles apply everywhere. In cities, in forests, in open fields. The details vary, but the basic pattern remains the same. As this pattern continues, there is no need to follow each step. The explanation does not need to be held in mind. It is enough to recognize that temperature changes at night follow simple, reliable behavior. Behavior that unfolds slowly and continues without effort. The environment adjusts quietly, and there is nothing required in response. As nighttime cooling continues, not every part of the environment changes at the same pace. Different materials respond to the loss of warmth in slightly different ways. The ground is usually the first place where this change becomes noticeable. Soil, sand, and rock absorb energy during the day. After sunset, they begin releasing that stored warmth back into the surrounding space. Because these surfaces are solid, they tend to change temperature more quickly than the air above them. The warmth they release does not linger in one place. It spreads outward and upward, gradually leaving the surface behind. Air behaves differently. It does not store energy in the same way solid materials do. Instead, it responds to changes in the surfaces it touches. As the ground cools, the air in direct contact with it begins to cool as well. This happens quietly, layer by layer. The air closest to the surface changes first. Higher above the ground, the air may remain slightly warmer for a longer period of time. This creates a gentle difference in temperature with height, not sharp, not dramatic, just gradual. Because of this, nighttime cooling often feels subtle rather than sudden. The environment does not shift all at once. It adjusts unevenly, following the characteristics of each material involved. Open land cools differently than paved areas. Bare soil releases warmth more quickly than thick concrete. Vegetated ground behaves differently again, influenced by moisture and structure. These differences do not disrupt the overall pattern. They simply shape how the change is experienced in specific places. Air moves slowly during calm nights. Without strong winds, cooled air tends to remain close to the ground. It settles gently, forming a stable layer near the surface. This settling does not require stillness everywhere. Small movements continue, but the overall motion remains limited. Because air is light and responsive, it follows the temperature of its surroundings. As surfaces continue to cool, the nearby air follows the same direction. Gradually, evenly. Nothing here is working against anything else. There is no competition between land and air. Each responds according to its properties. This difference in response helps explain why nighttime environments often feel calmer. With less mixing and less variation, conditions become more uniform. The ground continues releasing warmth. The air continues adjusting. Neither process needs attention. These changes are not something the body needs to track. They do not signal action or require reaction. Over time, the contrast between surface and air becomes smaller. As temperatures draw closer together, the movement of energy slows. The system approaches a quieter state. This state does not mean nothing is happening. It means that change is happening gently, without urgency. Throughout the night, land and air remain connected through this slow exchange. One influences the other, not through force, but through contact and proximity. The same pattern repeats night after night, in different environments, under different conditions. The details may vary, but the overall behavior remains familiar. As these processes continue, there is no need to follow them closely. They do not build toward an outcome that needs to be noticed. They simply remain in motion, quietly adjusting, steadily unfolding. And as this steady exchange continues, it becomes easier for attention to soften, knowing that nothing abrupt is taking place and nothing needs to be anticipated. Closer to the ground, temperature changes tend to be felt first. This is where the surface interacts most directly with the surrounding air. Plants play a quiet role in this process, not by directing change, but by shaping how energy is released and retained near the surface. During the day, plants absorb energy from sunlight along with the ground beneath them. Their leaves, stems, and surrounding soil warm gradually as light continues. After sunset, this stored warmth begins to disperse. As with other surfaces, the change does not happen all at once. It unfolds slowly, following the same physical principles. Vegetation often cools at a different pace than bare ground. Leaves have a large surface area. This allows them to release warmth efficiently into the surrounding air. At the same time, the presence of plants can slow temperature change near the ground. By reducing direct exposure to open sky, vegetation can limit how quickly heat escapes upward. Moisture also plays a role. Soil beneath plants often contains more water than exposed ground. Water changes temperature more slowly than dry material. Because of this, areas with vegetation tend to cool in a more gradual way. Not warmer, not colder, just steadier. Near the surface, air responds to these small differences. Air close to plants and soil cools gently, following the temperature of what it touches. This creates a narrow layer where change is noticeable before it spreads higher. This process does not require movement. It does not rely on wind. It continues even in still conditions. In open fields, gardens, or forested areas, the ground and plants work together in this quiet exchange. Warmth moves outward. Air adjusts. Balance is approached slowly. These changes are often subtle enough to go unnoticed. They don't create sharp boundaries. They don't announce transitions. Instead, they contribute to a general sense of cooling that develops over time. Minute by minute, without a clear beginning or end. The presence of plants does not interrupt nighttime cooling. It simply shapes the pace, smoothing variations, reducing extremes. This is part of why natural environments often feel stable at night, not static, but gently regulated by many small interactions happening at once. Nothing in this process depends on awareness. Plants do not respond differently when they are observed. The ground does not adjust based on attention. The exchange continues because conditions allow it to, because energy moves where it can, because physical contact makes transfer possible. As the night progresses, Differences between plant-covered ground and nearby surfaces become less distinct. Temperatures continue to draw closer together. The overall environment becomes more uniform. This uniformity does not mean change has stopped. It means change has slowed. And slowed change requires very little from the nervous system. For the body, this kind of environment feels predictable. There are no sudden shifts to monitor, no sharp contrasts to respond to. The ground remains in contact with the air. Plants remain part of the surface. Warmth continues to move outward, quietly. There is no need to follow the details of this exchange. They do not need to be remembered. It is enough to recognize that near the ground, temperature adjusts gently during the night, guided by simple interactions, repeating the same pattern, evening after evening. And as these familiar processes continue, attention can remain soft, allowing the background to stay just that, background. Water responds to nighttime temperature changes in a quieter way. Compared to land and air, it shifts more slowly. During the day, bodies of water absorb energy gradually. Lakes, rivers, and oceans warm as sunlight continues. But the change is spread through depth, not confined to a thin surface. Because of this, water does not heat up quickly, and after sunset, it does not cool quickly either. As night arrives, the energy stored in water is released at a measured pace, not all at once, not unevenly, but slowly, across the surface and into the surrounding air. This slower response creates a stabilizing effect. Areas near water tend to experience smaller temperature shifts over the course of the night. The cooling still happens. It simply happens with less variation. Air near water adjusts gently. As warmth leaves the surface, nearby air responds. But because the change is gradual, the adjustment feels smooth rather than abrupt. This is why environments near lakes or coastlines often feel more even at night. Not warmer, not colder, just steadier. Water does not resist temperature change. It simply spreads it out over time. This behavior follows the same physical principles seen elsewhere. Energy moves from areas of higher concentration to lower concentration. Water allows that movement to happen slowly. As the night continues, the difference between water temperature and air temperature becomes smaller. The exchange of energy slows further. The system approaches balance without reaching a fixed endpoint. There is no moment when the process completes, no signal that marks the transition. It continues quietly, adjusting in response to conditions that remain stable. Large bodies of water extend this effect across wide areas. Smaller bodies influence only their immediate surroundings, but the pattern remains the same. The presence of water reduces extremes. It softens contrasts. It limits rapid shifts that would otherwise require adjustment. This does not mean the environment becomes still. Movement continues, but the pace is reduced. For the body, this kind of stability feels familiar. It mirrors internal processes that also change slowly rather than suddenly. The nervous system does not need to prepare for abrupt change. There is no reason to remain alert. Throughout the night, water continues to release and absorb energy at a measured pace. Air continues to respond. Land continues to cool. Each system follows its own timing. Together, they create an environment that feels balanced and predictable. None of this depends on attention. The processes remain the same whether or not they are noticed. Water does not behave differently when observed. Its response is governed by the same relationships, night after night. As the hours pass, temperature differences across the environment become smaller. The overall pattern becomes quieter, more uniform. This gradual settling is not something that needs to be tracked. It does not carry meaning that must be understood. It simply describes how natural systems behave when incoming energy is reduced, slowly, evenly. And as this steady behavior continues, it provides a stable background, one that does not demand focus, one that allows attention to soften further. The night continues. The temperature continues to adjust, and the process remains calm, repeating the same pattern without interruption. By now, there is no need to keep track of what has already been said. Nothing here depends on remembering details. Nothing is building toward a conclusion. The patterns being described continue, whether or not they are followed. Night arrives. Energy input remains low. Temperature adjusts slowly. These processes do not speed up. They do not require attention. They are not affected by observation. The repetition is intentional. When information stops changing, the brain no longer needs to stay alert. There is nothing new to monitor, nothing unexpected to prepare for. The ground continues releasing warmth. The air continues adjusting. Water continues changing at a measured pace. These processes remain steady. They do not shift direction. They do not introduce surprise. This is often the point where listening becomes less active. Words may still be heard, but they no longer need to be interpreted. They can pass through without forming clear images or thoughts. The body remains supported. Breathing continues at its own pace. Nothing in the environment has changed suddenly. There is no signal that something new is about to happen. The same ideas return gently, not to add meaning, but to maintain rhythm. Temperature continues to change slowly during the night, not because it is being guided, but because physical conditions remain the same. This does not need further explanation. The idea does not become more complex. From this point on, no new information is required. The science does not advance forward. It remains present, but it no longer needs to be followed. This is a point of permission. Permission to stop listening closely. Permission to stop following sentences. Permission to let the voice remain in the background. There is no advantage in staying awake for what comes next. Nothing essential will be missed. If sleep arrives now, the process continues without interruption. The night does not pause. The environment does not respond differently. If awareness fades, it fades naturally. If it returns briefly later, it can drift again just as easily. There is no correct way to experience this moment. Some nights rest arrives quickly. Other nights it arrives in stages. Both are normal. The body does not need instruction. The mind does not need reassurance. The steady rhythm is enough. From here on, the information density remains low. No new ideas will be introduced. The story does not move forward in the way stories usually do. It simply stays. And in that steadiness, sleep has room to settle, quietly, without effort, and without needing to be noticed at all. Night continues without interruption. There is no change in direction, no new influence entering the system. Energy input remains low. Surfaces continue releasing warmth. The air continues responding gradually. This exchange does not require awareness. It does not pause when it is not noticed. The ground cools, slowly, evenly. Air near the surface follows, not all at once, but in small, continuous adjustments. Water changes at its own pace, spreading temperature differences across time, reducing sharp variation. These processes remain consistent. They repeat in the same general way each night. There is no need to track where one change ends and another begins. They overlap. They blend together. Cooling does not arrive as an event. It develops quietly, minute by minute. The environment does not ask for attention. It does not signal importance. Land, air, and water continue interacting, each responding according to its properties, none acting independently. This interaction remains balanced. Nothing accelerates, nothing reverses. As temperatures draw closer together, movement becomes gentler. The pace slows further. This slowing does not mean nothing is happening. It means the change has become less noticeable. The night feels steady because the underlying processes are steady. They do not compete. They do not interrupt one another. The same pattern unfolds in different places, in open land, near water, around vegetation. The details vary slightly. The overall rhythm remains familiar. Because of this repetition, the mind does not need to stay engaged. There is nothing new to organize, nothing unexpected to resolve. Words may continue to arrive. They do not need to form meaning. They can remain as sound. Sentences do not need to be completed. Pauses may feel longer. Time does not need to be measured. Moments do not need to be distinguished. The voice remains consistent. It does not change pace. It does not introduce emphasis. The background stays the same. Temperature continues to adjust during the night, not dramatically, not unevenly, just as before. The ground continues releasing warmth. The air continues adjusting. Water continues moderating change. These statements do not add information. They maintain rhythm. Repetition reduces effort. When nothing new is introduced, attention softens naturally. There is no reason to stay alert, no signal to prepare for change. If awareness drifts away, nothing is lost. The processes continue exactly as they were. If awareness returns briefly, the same pattern remains, unchanged. The night does not progress toward an ending. It simply continues. The same slow adjustments remain in place, quiet, predictable. And as this repetition carries on, words become less distinct. They blend into the background, like the gradual cooling they describe. The same changes that unfold during a single night also repeat across much longer periods of time, not in a way that needs to be noticed, but through quiet consistency. Each evening, temperature begins to shift as daylight fades. Each night, surfaces release stored warmth. Each morning, incoming energy gradually returns. This cycle repeats, day after day, night after night. Across seasons, the details change slightly. Some nights cool more quickly, others more slowly. The length of the night varies. The angle of sunlight during the day shifts over the year. Cloud cover and humidity differ from place to place, but the underlying pattern remains familiar. When incoming energy decreases, temperature begins to adjust. When incoming energy increases, it changes again. These long-term rhythms do not require tracking. They do not need to be measured to be present. The environment responds automatically to these repeating conditions. There is no memory involved. No anticipation. Each night is shaped by what came before it, and by what is no longer present. Over time, this repetition creates stability. Even though no single night is exactly the same, the general behavior remains predictable. This predictability allows natural systems to function without disruption. There is no need for rapid adjustment, no need for constant response. Living systems adapt to these rhythms not through decision, but through exposure. By existing within them, by experiencing the same gradual changes again and again. The night does not need to announce itself differently each time. It follows the same broad pattern, quietly. Because these changes unfold over long periods, they rarely feel urgent. They do not compete for attention. Temperature does not jump from one state to another. It moves along a slow path shaped by repeated conditions. This is true within a single evening and across many evenings. The mind does not need to hold on to this idea. It does not become more important with repetition. It simply remains true. As these longer rhythms continue, they provide a sense of continuity, a background pattern that does not rush, that does not demand interpretation. The night follows the same general path it has followed before and will follow again. There is no need to think about how long this has been happening or how long it will continue. The process is already in motion, and it does not depend on awareness. The night cools, the day warms, and the cycle repeats. Steady, unhurried, unchanged in its overall direction. Living systems exist within these temperature changes without needing to respond actively. They do not monitor the environment in the way people do. They do not anticipate what comes next. Instead, they adjust through processes that unfold quietly over time. As nighttime cooling continues, living organisms remain part of the same physical conditions. Their surroundings change gradually, and internal conditions shift along with them. This adjustment does not require awareness. It does not involve choice or effort. It happens because biological systems are shaped by repeated exposure to stable patterns. Temperature influences movement, metabolism, and activity in subtle ways, not abruptly, not dramatically. Changes occur within ranges that have been encountered many times before. Because of this familiarity, no special response is required. Living systems are not tuned to react to every small variation. They respond only when conditions move beyond what is typical. During a normal night, changes remain well within expected bounds. This allows processes to continue smoothly, without interruption, without urgency. There is no need for constant correction, no signal that something unusual is happening. In this way, biological systems mirror the environment they exist in. They follow gradual shifts rather than sudden changes. Activity tends to decrease as conditions become more uniform, not because it is being suppressed, but because there is less variation to respond to. This reduction in variation is important. It creates a stable background, one that does not demand attention or adaptation. The same temperature patterns repeat across many nights. Living systems encounter them again and again. Over time, this repetition becomes the default condition. Nothing in this process requires conscious regulation. It does not depend on interpretation. It unfolds automatically, guided by the same physical relationships that shape the environment. As the night continues, internal adjustments slow, not because they stop, but because they approach balance. This balance does not need to be maintained actively. It holds as long as conditions remain steady. Living systems remain present within this quiet exchange, responding when needed, remaining neutral when no response is required. For the listener, there is no need to follow these details. They do not add complexity. They do not build toward an explanation. They simply describe how adjustment can occur without effort, in the same gradual way that temperature changes through the night, quietly, consistently, without drawing attention to itself. Nothing in the environment has changed direction. The same conditions remain in place. Incoming energy stays low. Temperature continues to adjust, slowly. There is no point that needs to be reached, no stage that needs to be completed. The ground remains in contact with the air. The air remains responsive. Water continues to moderate change. These processes do not speed up. They do not require attention. As the night continues, differences become smaller. The movement of energy becomes gentler, less distinct. At this point, the details are no longer important. They do not need to be remembered. They do not need to be organized. What remains is repetition. The same ideas returning without variation. Temperature continues to change during the night. Not suddenly, not unevenly, just as before. Words may begin to feel less connected to meaning. They can remain a sound, moving at a steady pace. There is no need to notice where one sentence ends and another begins. Pauses may feel longer. Time may feel less structured. This is not something that needs to be followed closely. It can happen without awareness. The body remains supported. Breathing continues on its own. Nothing here asks for effort. Nothing needs to be held in mind. The environment stays quiet, unchanged in its overall behavior. Temperature continues to adjust, whether or not it is noticed. There is no signal that something new is about to happen. No shift in tone, no change in pace. The same steady pattern remains. If thoughts appear, they do not need to be examined. They can pass without being followed. If attention drifts away, there is no need for it to return. The background remains consistent. The processes being described do not depend on listening. They do not respond to awareness. They continue because conditions allow them to. As the night moves on, information becomes less distinct. The explanation softens, structure loosens. What remains is rhythm and continuity. There is nothing left to understand, nothing left to complete. Temperature continues its slow adjustment. The night continues. The same pattern holds, quietly. And because nothing is changing suddenly, there is nothing to prepare for. The words remain present, but they do not ask to be followed. They do not point toward an ending. They simply continue.